Week, another edition of KSAT News Now.
Yeah, hopefully everyone had a great weekend. Of course, we had Father's Day this weekend, so belated shout out to all the dads out there, all the dad-like figures, and everyone who's, kind of holding it down on the dad spots.
Yeah, and another big celebration over the weekend, that was for Juneteenth. This is the second time it's a federal holiday, but we'll get into that in just a bit. And we know a lot of people are celebrating still today.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes, a federal holiday today. Some other stories that we're going to be kind of diving into this morning. Many Texas highways are about to get supercharged, if you will say, and that's going to happen in a big plan. Big things that are coming up here. And travel woes continue this morning for thousands of flyers across the country. It has been it's been a tough weekend for people that have been looking to fly a little bit.
Fly, drive, you talk about gas prices. But this morning we're actually going to start in Uvalde. We start with new information emerging about the enforcement in stopping a mass shooter who again killed 19 students and 2 teachers, and that was at Robb Elementary School in the city of Uvalde.
A source told ABC News on Sunday that police officers didn't attempt to open 2 doors that were connected to the classrooms where a gunman was opening fire on children, and the new development was first reported by the San Antonio Express News over the weekend.
Yeah, so the newspaper source said the gunman wasn't able to lock the doors from the inside, and the doors could have been unlocked due to the malfunction.
More than a dozen officers, including Uvalde District Police Chief Pete Arredondo, waited for over an hour in the hallway of the school before a small group of Border Patrol agents entered the room and killed that gunman.
So the reports appear to contradict a recent public statement by Arredondo, who had claimed he was trying dozens of times, that he was trying to get into the classroom, not just he, right? The personnel inside the school at that time.
That's right. ABC News reported that surveillance video shows that neither Arredondo or the other officers in the hallway were seen trying to open the door. And again, that is according to a source to ABC News there. And this was a pretty big report over the weekend. I remember reading the Express News' report. Brian Chasnoff was the one who had this story, and again, it's another one of these deals where it's heartbreaking to hear these details, and there's still just no clear.
Well, that's the thing. The allegations were made, and then now we know that police actually, it's not true. They made no attempt to go into these classrooms while these kids were calling themselves to 911 to try to get help. And I mean, if you've heard the testimonies of the children, I mean, they say, like, we heard the police outside, we called for help. Another thing to note is that the House committee, they continue with the hearings. They started on Thursday, and these are being done in private, but they are calling witnesses forward. So day 1 on Thursday, we were out there, and that focused more on the employees and administrative staff of the Uvalde Consolidated Independent School District. Day 2, which was Friday, was with more of law enforcement. And the big thing with that, RJ, was that at that time on Friday, there was still no word if Uvalde PD was going to participate in these voluntary hearings. Come to find out this morning, they are on the docket. They have 4 police officers, an Uvalde ISD officer, the PD chief, Uvalde PD sergeant, and then a DPS trooper. So we're going to hopefully find out a little bit more, and we just have to wait.
Yeah. I think from day 1, when there was the initial DPS press conference, and then the DPS director came out days later to kind of backtrack a little bit on that information. Remember, going back to this, we were told that there was an armed officer on campus, and that it just feels like it's changed by the week.
And it has.
And it definitely has. And, based on these latest reports, you could see why maybe the district police chief is not wanting to discuss any more of this. I'm sure that there's a lot of legal parts of this that are going into play. So, but this was just another very disheartening thing to read over the weekend.
Which is why journalists, KSAT included, will continue to press for those questions. But we move on to the next story. It's Juneteenth, and since 1865, Juneteenth in the U.S. and this year June 19th fell on a Sunday, so Juneteenth is being observed as a federal holiday today, Monday, June 20th.
It was only last year that this became a federal holiday, just 2 days earlier, so it's the first year Juneteenth is being widely observed with closures of federal agencies, banks, schools, and much more. And that's because today we commemorate when the Union Army General Gordon Granger arrived in Galveston, Texas to announce that enslaved people had been liberated. That's because even though President Lincoln had declared all enslaved persons free more than 2 years prior, many enslavers continue to hold enslaved black people here in Texas captive.
Yeah, so the White House briefing room published a proclamation, and I loved, it was pretty lengthy, but it was, if you haven't read it, I encourage you to do so. It says, quote in part, quote, this Juneteenth, we are freshly reminded that the poisonous ideology of racism has not yet been defeated. It only hides. Our nation continues to mourn the 10 lives senselessly taken in Buffalo, New York, and grieve for the families who have lost a piece of their soul, end quote. And that's just one of the most recent situations where we see where this racism, this hateful ideology can, just how much pain it can cause. And it's still true today in our nation.
Absolutely, and I think of El Paso. That was also a racially charged mass shooting that took place there a few years back, and so you know, this is something now with Juneteenth that obviously a lot of people here can celebrate and commemorate something that was really just a horrible time in our history. And I know that over the weekend we had the festival at Comanche Park. A lot of people attended that, and they also had the Missions Night, Juneteenth Missions Night too, which raised a lot of money for SACAM and the Texas Kidney Foundation. So a lot of different ways that people are celebrating, but you're right, the origins of this it's a tough part of our history to deal with.
And if you don't know about Juneteenth, this is the perfect day to do some research and, you know, become aware of the situation, not just here in Texas, but we talk about the nation, right? And again, those words, the ideology of racism has not yet been defeated. It only hides. Right.
Okay, switching gears a little bit here to charging stations. We know that cars are becoming, that's a little bit more of a common sight here for a lot of vehicles, and soon you may spot them along every 50 miles on Texas interstates, and that'll allow for some easier long distance travel, which I've always had questions about this.
Yeah, so I didn't know that even like with a Tesla, like if I try to make a long trip, 5 hours, you're not going to make it. You have to charge the car, which, okay.
Yeah, not only do you have to charge your batteries have to be fully charged, but then I think they could only go for like a 4 to 6 hour distance based on the type of battery you have. And then there's also a thing that's called like a super battery charger, which will give you an extra couple of hours. But I always think about this when I drive to El Paso.
You
That's
can't
like
do a road
9-hour drive.
Yeah, there's no way.
It's not happening.
Things, if you own an electric car, if you're thinking about it, this is probably good news for you. So Texas has more than $400 million in federal funds for infrastructure investments. And with this money, Texas is going to focus on electric vehicles. So this is a 5-year plan to build stations with multiple stalls along main corridors and highways before, of course, tapping into rural areas.
So the next question is this a good investment? According to a report by TxDOT, as of May 31st, there were 129,000 electric vehicles registered in Texas, which means less than 1% of Texans' registered vehicles are, in fact, electric.
So Texans can chime in as the state is gathering public comments before it finalizes this plan. TxDOT is going to submit that plan by August 1st, so you still have some time. They're going to submit it to the Federal Highway Administration, and it's expected that about January of next year, the contracts for construction would begin to be awarded. So then we'd have a better sense of what's, you know, what main corridors, what interstates will have this. So can you imagine every 50 miles?
I've seen them a little bit more.
So.
Yeah, I've seen them a little bit more. Like at, I think Buc-ee's now has them. If you're driving up 35, yeah, if you drive the one there in New Braunfels, I think has added a few, and maybe the one up in Temple. But TxDOT says the charging stalls would be high-powered with the ability to charge electric vehicles from 10% to 80% in about half an hour. That's the thing too, is that when you stop and charge your battery, you got to wait there for a little bit. I mean, there's no going back on that.
Well, I mean, that could soon change. I don't know how soon, but it's in the works. So again.
Have you thought about getting an electric vehicle?
No.
Me neither.
I mean, I think we say it now because we're with these prices for gas and diesel, it makes you think. But I'm not I don't want to be in the market for a new car. Let me put it that way. I'm fine right now.
I just don't want to be
paid off
vehicle.
Yeah, especially for a drive
Yeah.
to El Paso. I mean,
Yeah.
I've only heard about the drive, and I hear that there's not much out there.
No, there's
so
not. Yeah.
good luck.
Yeah, there's not. Hey, speaking of travel this morning, Alicia, it was another rough weekend for many travelers flying after airlines canceled and delayed thousands of flights.
This is honestly a big fear. So does insurance, when you buy the insurance, does it cover all that?
I never get the insurance.
Something we need to look into. All right.
I'm that guy. Cancel all.
The
Take the
cancellations
risk.
are mostly being blamed on bad weather and staff shortages due to soaring demand. And that's what gets me, the staff shortages. Like when you purchase your ticket, you have no idea.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, you assume that everything's going to go fine. I mean, with the exception of weather, that's the one thing that, I mean, you just cannot really anticipate. But Friday was the busiest day for air travel this year, with over 2.4 million people passing through security at U.S. airports. And on Saturday, there were 2.1 million travelers.
Yeah, so the increase in delays and cancellations comes just days after Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg met with airline executives to discuss improving performance and operations before the 4th of July holiday. And this is what's so upsetting with, I mean, like you talk about, when it's weather, well, there's really nothing you can do. But when you talk about staff shortages, it's frustrating to know that it's still due, that these cancellations are in part due to that. Because what do? Again, you have no way of confirming.
Right.
And the flight tickets are only getting more expensive.
Yeah, yeah. You're right, because when you book a flight, you just kind of assume that the airlines figure that they're going to have enough staffing for that. I mean, you're talking about 4 million passengers over the week. Now, I get it. People maybe call in sick or just, just didn't want to go to work that day. But still, for that many cancellations and the domino effect that it causes, that's pretty rough. There were some stories there about some people. I saw ABC report that people missed out on weddings this weekend and all sorts of big time events.
That's what I was going to say. It's not so much just the flight, but I'm sure you travel. So when you're planning a trip like this, it's not just your flight that you're missing out on. You're going to miss out on a reservation for your Airbnb or I don't know, what have you. But still, it's just a lot of money and then a lot of headache. So
just frustrating to think about.
But if you want to travel, maybe you could go to a cool Airbnb.
Yeah, we got one here. So this one, no mystery. People apparently are still really digging that old cartoon classic, Scooby-Doo.
Did you like Scooby-Doo?
I like Scooby-Doo. I like Scrappy more, though.
Scrappy. Well, this is pretty cool. The Airbnb that Warner Brothers offered as an overnight stay in the Mystery Machine from the movie Scooby-Doo sold out within minutes. And if you didn't know that was happening, well, now you know.
Yeah, the idea was to celebrate the 20-year anniversary of the movie's release. Wow, 20 years. The iconic van will be parked on the Malibu coast in Southern California for 3 one-night stays starting this Friday.
But they already sold out, right?
They sold out.
Oh, okay. So I'm sure there's a hashtag that you can follow along with to see what it's like.
Right.
The lucky guest who got the stay for $20 for the night definitely had to act very fast. They will get to rewatch the movie in the van. Ooh.
Wow, I know. Wow.
While enjoying lots of Scooby snacks, which I don't really care for, like the graham crackers. All right. Oh no, just kidding. The Scooby snacks are the hot dogs and the eggplant burgers.
Yeah,
I was thinking like the graham crackers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, and apparently Matthew Lillard right there, he played Shaggy in those movies. He is going to be giving people a video message or something. That was kind of how it was promoted as come hang out with Matthew Lillard. I will say though, guys, hanging out on the Malibu coast, that for me would be amazing. I don't care if I'm in the Mystery Machine or what I'm in, but being just along the PCH there would be pretty awesome.
These experiences, like these pop-ups, are becoming more common. I think back to the one for Sex and the City. Shaw's New York apartment. That's the only one that I actually looked into, and I was like, I would totally do that.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah.
I think there's a Friends one too.
Yes.
That popped up recently. Yeah.
There's a really cool one, I think, in El Paso. Now they have Airbnb actually, I believe, has a tab where you can find these specific type of experiences, right? Where everything is in theme.
Yeah. Well, Sarah.
Anything to get away from the heat, guys.
Exactly.
That's
any sort of
kind
vacation.
of how I feel
The
right
Mystery
now.
Machine. Anything you got to do.
So today, could very well be our 17th 100-degree day already this year. Yeah, I know. So let's talk about it, see how it compares to other years. Yesterday made 16 100-degree days. And, you know, we're in the run for the top 3 years or so with 100-degree weather. So in 2009, there were 59 100-degree days. We're not even done with June. We've still got July. We've still got August. But at this point in 2009, we had 14 100-degree days. So again, we're in the run for the money this year so far. 85 degrees in San Antonio right now. It's partly cloudy and winds are calm. Dew points are high at the moment. We're going to be seeing the humidity come down a little bit though, but still it is a warm start. Many areas are close to 90 degrees already. And again, just a few puffy cumulus clouds out there. That's about it. Looking at your high-res futurecast, one thing I want to point out is that a lot like the last couple of days, you can see that we have a 10% chance for a stray shower this afternoon. That's it, only 10%. Otherwise, it's going to be hot. 101 in New Braunfels, 101 in Seguin, 102 in Stinson, 101 in Castroville, 100 in Hondo. Here's your KSAT 12-hour forecast. We'll already be at 90 around noon and then 97 by 3 p.m. After 3 p.m., that's when we introduce that very small 10% chance for a stray shower. Wow, 10%. But it's there. There's a 90% chance you're not going to get anything in your backyard. 100 for the high temperature, 5 and 6. And then by sunset, our temperatures will still be in the 80s and 90s. So it's still going to be a warm evening, and winds will be from the southeast at about 15 miles per hour at times. We've got the tale of two stories, okay? We've got a trough of low pressure over the Rockies. That's bringing some monsoonal rains to parts of New Mexico, but this heat high is just winning out, guys. Okay, I want to talk for a second about the science behind a high pressure system and why we get hot, okay? High pressure compresses the air, allows it to warm up quicker. Think about your Instapot at home, okay, right? That's a high pressure situation. It heats up the air. This is our Instapot. Okay, it's heating us up. And not only is it heating South Central Texas up, but look at Minneapolis. It could be 104 today in Minneapolis. So they are going to experience temperatures from 20 to 25 degrees above average, while we're 5 to 10 degrees above average. That heat high will move a little off to the east tomorrow, so just shy of 100. 99 though, is your body going to tell the difference? No. And then by Wednesday and Thursday, that heat high settles over, and so we'll be at 101 on Thursday, 102 Friday, Saturday, and even Sunday. Does not look good for rain chances over the next 7 days for us, guys, other than that measly, wimpy 10% chance for a pop-up shower. So what do you think? The Instapot thing makes sense?
Yes.
Yes, totally.
Good. And I just keep thinking about the farmers, the people who really, you know, their land really is depending.
And guys, you know, the aquifer continues to fall. So SAWS is not really going to go into stage 3 water restrictions. They've already come out and said that it's not going to happen. New Braunfels, though, utility, they are now under stage 3 water restrictions tomorrow, starting tomorrow.
Do we know why SAWS would not?
So yes, because SAWS they have, in their words, other water sources, like the Vista Ridge pipeline, those kinds of things. So they can rely on that instead of the aquifer. And so they have a larger water portfolio.
All right.
Wow. We just need some rain really bad.
Yeah.
We need lower temperatures here. That is just, frightening. And then summer begins here, but would you
Can't
even
believe summer is barely going to begin, you guys.
I know. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
I know. And you were talking just about farmers. I know you did that story on Friday, right? About
over
farmers.
in Fredericksburg.
Fredericksburg, that's right. And today, I'm actually going to be looking at how the heat is affecting some of our four-legged friends. So yeah, pets, make sure to keep them safe and also have some water around them at all times. Yeah, because hate to see those little guys get
Well, yeah, I mean, I think
dehydrated.
we take for granted that they are so resilient.
Yeah.
But they hurt too. I mean, you think about their paws, think about when you're able to walk them. Also, if you do see a pet outdoors during those peak hours, or really right now with these triple-digit temperatures, say something, report it.
Or inside a car. Yeah, a lot of people, that's some of the worst stuff there. But that'll be a story, hopefully, that we can show you guys a little bit later tonight as we all stay cold. Did you go running this weekend in 100 degrees?
He's asking that question. So if you follow us here on News Now, I've been known to go out to run at the worst time possible. Yeah. And we're talking about like 4 or 5 miles. No, I didn't run this weekend.
It's good.
I was out in Dallas
Stayed out
celebrating my
there.
dad, so that was
Yep.
priority.
Yeah, definitely.
No running for me. Maybe
right.
today though. Today it's looking like I'll be out running at 5.
Oh wow. See, I don't know. How do you do that? I can't.
Electrolytes, extra electrolytes.
That's true. Okay, well, that'll wrap up today's KSAT News Now. Again, for everyone that is celebrating Juneteenth and commemorating that, please take some time to learn about the history of that. Very important here in the state of Texas.
Yeah, and keep sharing information. All right, you guys, we'll see you tomorrow at 11 a.m. Have a great day.